And these are the Ionic columns from the same period.
Yes, I see.
Remarkable specimens of their time.
Right.
Are you interested in general Roman architecture, or are you just writing your thesis on columns in particular?
Just columns, I'm afraid. Doric, Ionic,
Corinthian.
exactly that.
It's good you're focusing on them. People often forget the columns in order to look at the pediment. Entablature is all very well and good, but columns are important. You know, they hold the whole thing up.
Yes.
You look pale. Do you want to sit down?
No, I'm just tired.
A long day.
Something like that.
I have my own theory that columns are a conceptualization of the idea of catharsis.
Oh,
Well, catharsis is releasing that which has been repressed and therefore letting them go. Therapy of sorts.
you could argue that.
And there's something about these grand old columns that does the same for me. Letting the pediment go towards the sky, raising it up from the tension of the earth.
You see the earth as tense.
Doesn't everyone?
I haven't been well lately. There was a time when I didn't see myself pulling through, but I'm here, I'm trying, going to get the flowers myself, all that.
I'm sorry to hear it. The illness.
Yes. Well,
I've lost someone myself. Loss is a very different pain to all of the pain I find. The absence. It's not that there's a sharp agony in your side, more a numbness.
I'm sorry.
Why? You didn't have anything to do with it. I took this job shortly after she left, and I've enjoyed it. You see the crowds of tourists with their children with sticky ice cream hands trying to touch relics that are thousands of years old, and you see the students like yourself.
And you don't resent the tourists
What for? For being alive?
for touching the columns.
No, I'm glad they're here. I mean, all of life passes through this space, and it's good to see. So there was one elderly visitor, a man, who used to come once a week, every week, and just sit in this room, looking at the columns and the entablature. He didn't talk. I don't think I ever even said hello to him. But we were together, silently, for what must have added up to days. He came sometimes for 5 minutes, once for 3 hours.
Well, what happened to him?
One week he just stopped coming. But they are still here, you see.
They,
The stone. All of this. Once they were just part of a rock. They were carved out long before our society had been dreamt of. They were towed, we still don't know how exactly, but by boat or road, and then carved by skilled artisans. They were stacked on top of each other to form great columns, higher than any human being could ever be. And those people making them must have thought that they'd be there forever, that this would be the end of their story.
you mean they wouldn't have imagined they would end up in a museum?
But they haven't.
I don't follow.
They are currently in a museum. Yes, and thousands of years after they were created, but who knows where they'll end?
You think they'll be repatriated?
Who knows? All I'm saying is, perhaps long after you or I are gone, they might be taken back to a city. They aren't fragile, they're stone. Imagine if they were put to use again, if one day they were used to hold up the roof of a modern temple.
Or a Costa?
What would be wrong with that? Anywhere that all life passes through is sacred in its own way.
Like here?
Sometimes I like to imagine that they'll be taken back to Rome in many, many years, and they'll support a grand, ornate roof that provides shelter to both the rich people leaving the theatres and the homeless just seeking warmth.
And will that be their catharsis? Are they tents here? in this museum waiting for a release, an ending.
Well, that's the problem with catharsis. It insists that there is an ending. I think actually there's something more important than endings.
Oh, yes?
Continuing.
Yes. Yes.